Um, let's discuss what it's like to be more free than a bird in the sky. It's called illumination, spirituality, cosmic consciousness, enlightenment, nirvikalpa samadhi, the beatific vision, the vision of God. More than anything, it's very human. It's more human than anyone's ever aspired to be. And it transcends every concept that anyone's known of that which we call the Almighty, God. Transcends any thought of heaven. That's how pure this condition is. Today we're going to work on our case, which means the problematic issues that hit us from the day-to-day responsibilities. I call them present time problems. I work with people for 55 years at my home where I live or wherever I'm at, and I can listen to people and help download their case, the spiritual issues, psychological, emotional, dealing with other people, the psychic impressions they get, the spiritual impressions, and the impressions that are transcendent. And that's the place we're going to go to today, and I probably almost never had anyone that didn't experience that at the end of 20, 45 minutes, 2 hours with me. Had my buddy George, who's quite spiritual, visit this week, and he lives alone in the hills, and he's a yogi. He's truly spiritual, so that his presence reminded me that how truly transcendent and good and gracious and kind a really spiritual person is. It's a different sense. And with George, he's so selfless that I realize people use and abuse him all the time, and he never blames them, never judges them, and I can't fix him about that, but in the end, he's doing the right thing. If you were a divine being, a creature from heaven, and you were lighted onto this space, you would be just like George. And you'd be victimized around the clock, and you wouldn't even understand it. And you wouldn't fight back. Because there is no fight back in this higher awareness, this consciousness, this transcendent place, a place of peace and kindness and joy. If you can elaborate that out through some heavenly delight, beyond those words, it's bigger than your marriage kiss. Do you understand what was just said? It's more wondrous. And your child, your baby's first cry or word, breath, that first cry is just hearkening back to the fact that the child is still on the side of God, in that place of innocence and kindness and wonder. And then you get beaten into your conditioned life over the next 3 or 4 or 7 years, and you never quite regain that innocence, do you? My buddy George still has it, even though he's victimized. So the point is, today we're going to, and of course I download a case when I'm with someone, then what, and I can, well, let's do that today, what I did with George the other day. It's one of many different ways of reminding ourselves of this higher consciousness. I'm going to do the time machine meditation. It's a Tibetan meditation. I use English words with it, and it'll be, we're going to do a transgression. We're going to get very quiet and calm, and we're going to experience, because there is no time in spirituality, in higher consciousness. The world itself doesn't exist. That's why I say these spiritual expressions of your own heart and soul are so far beyond any norm, even the great norms of human life, marriage, birth, the great things of being here. Because there is no here, and there is no when. And we're going to relive our past lives today, in the next few minutes, and just to see and feel and remember the different times. We're going to create a little opening in the air here to to see, to feel what's really around us in the quiet. You know, in your quiet times at home, when you're reverie, when you just drift off and you sense and feel these things, and you can be anywhere at any time. But we're going to go there consciously, because there are thousands of spiritual enhancement techniques which all work if taken to fruition, means if you do them. So do them for yourself, for George, for my mentor Jessica here. There's a place beyond the stars. It's a place for you that expresses the true you, that you'll express today. Doesn't mean standing up and making a speech. It means through your heart and soul. And once we're quiet and let go of some of the understanding that trained us to get us here, now that we're here and can be the true warrior of the soul that we're meant to be, let's see what it looks like to be in that place that we discussed at the beginning of this message. Excuse me. I'm going to count back from 100 to 90, at which point we're all going to be in a very quiet place, beyond time or circumstance. And then we're going to travel back to the distant past. Many of us have memories from these times, and they'll come flooding in. At 90, peace, quiet, calm, and this whole incarnation, as it were, will go up in a kind of golden smoke, a cloud of lightness and brevity and levity. Just the air will clear like the first rays of sun, after a rain shower. We're quiet at 90. Just the breathing. Relax all your joints. Feel every muscle in your body relax. Feel the presence of what seems to be the earth beneath us, through the heels and soles of our feet. Counting back to 90, wake up before this life and never sleep again. The Buddha simply means the awakened one. And this is what it is. As soon as you know that that's there and you sit quietly, you are the awakened one, you are the Buddha. Because once you start it, it won't let go of you. Just being aware that it's there, conscious of it, it will grab you tight and heal you and remind you and free you and empower you with the original you, the spiritual you, the godlike presence that the true you is, far away and beyond this earthly place that never was. You will visit the house of your illusion no more. We're there at 90. Thank you. 100. $99. $98. $97. Isn't it wonderful to know you can let go at any time you want for the rest of your life? Whenever you count down in any circumstance, and you'll be reminded. And you realize that any pain in this life is simply the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. And once you remember, you understand, and you're free. You are the awakened one. You reach the other shore at 90, 96, 95. Just the breathing. 94. 93. You'll have visions of past times that remind you of the trajectory that you've been on to make this one last stand on behalf of all the living. That there be pain no more. That the mystery of God would be finished. And when you awaken, it will be finished. 93. 92. 91. You're back before time, aware of the full measure of your spiritual presence and what you've done to get here, to make a stand on behalf of all decent people forever, to end the madness. You will break the spell for all those you come in contact with. You don't have to think about how to do it. It will just be there for you at such time. Always. No matter the circumstance. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not here to prove anything about yourself, to gain or lose anything. You're simply a divine presence. From here on in, you identify with the wind itself of a nice summer morning. 90. You are a godlike presence. You've allowed yourself to be enclosed in space and time here in a world that is simply an illusion. To free all decent people through conscious awareness of that place just the other side of heaven, the true kingdom. The place of your birth. You're not your body. You're not your problems or the solution to your problems. You're made of something kind and dear and good and gracious and decent. You're made of heavenly light. When you're with people, you don't have to learn how to do or not do. The words will simply come. You'll bring your friends into past life recollection, whatever it takes. Healing. Understanding. You can't help them pay the rent. It's not about that. You can help them, but that will happen when they let go of the spiritual problems. It's a spiritual universe. This that seems to be never was. It never could be. The awakening is in your consciousness. You'll become lighter, kinder, freer, permanent, grounded, and of singular good fortune. And your great day-to-day joy will be in finding someone who aspires. And you'll give them the light. You'll fix them, care for them, protect them, guide them. And as you do that, you'll become more of you, the original you. We're going to add one more step to this. I'm going to count back from 90 to 80, at which point we're going to be awakening at dawn's light. One morning, 3 months in the future, after having practiced some degree of these spiritual practices daily, could be 5 minutes or an hour or 25 hours a day, as I've done all my life. And you can't explain that, but it just is. This really isn't here. And you'll reach that place of original consciousness that I spoke before when we began, that it's beyond any concept of God. Because when you're in the literal heaven, God will become so humble, so infinitely gracious and humble that you can't quite ever see the actual God. And yet you are eternity itself. And they use the word glory. There's no word to describe God, except we call it you. Isn't it you? And the dark side will be on us, and we'll learn overnight to break the shell that encloses our understanding. At 80, we wake up 3 months in the future one morning and see how grand and wonderful this is when we're very grounded in our practice. Just the breathing. Relax the shoulders, elbows, finger joints, hips. You see the knees and joints in our feet. Relax it all. Relax all the flesh, all the musculature. Just let go. Feel lighter than air. We wake up at 80. One beautiful morning. '90. 89. 88, 87. You are a remarkable soul. You gave up divinity to be here to heal, help, and fix your friends. Aren't you wonderful? I meant with all my heart, all my soul. You are wonderful. You're not what the world says of you. You're not what you say of yourself in your humility, in your great humility. You're willing to be whoever, whatever they say you are, because you can't believe you're anything. And that's the curse of George, my buddy, and all good people. We're really nobody, so we're not fighting to get ahead. We're just here. Until the bell. The freedom bell, which you will ring for all mankind in the very near future. 87, 86. 85. 84. 83. Isn't it wonderful to be you? 81. 80. You are heaven's delight. At the end of the road in this life, all there is joy. A wonderful kind of joy. You are a spiritual presence. You always were. And through that wisdom and acknowledgement, you'll free all good, decent, spiritually inclined people. And the madness will be no more. It is an illusion. But there's nothing illusory about your kindness, your depth of bearing, your healing nature, your intelligence, your purity, your ability to caress everything that's real and true and good. Your heaven's heroic presence. If you're here, it's a conscious activity. You've let yourself fall into the pit of a hell. And the world is a hell. It's an illusion. And you're here to free all good people. Forget everything else you ever read or studied in school or thought about. This is what you really know to be your cause. Don't you know this? Don't you agree with this? Don't you find this satisfying and natural and real and healthy? Don't you? Don't look around anymore. You're the one. This is the appointed time. You've given yourself to this because you're selfless. Now you'll free yourself like my friend George or my teacher Jessica here, whose simple purity is no one sees. Selflessness is a great, great and grand gift to all of us. So we recognize it here and there, respect it, and serve it in whatever way. The great ones are not known in any outward sense. They're as quiet as the early morn. You're here to heal, to help, and to protect and bless. Protect because you're made of divine fire. In the beginning of this, we talked about a consciousness beyond the whole world, beyond anyone's thought of God or wonder, anything. And we're under attack, aren't we, by subtle forces, this thing called Satan, Mephistopheles. It's just, but if you know that, there'll always be a way to transcend it. God allowed certain creepy forces or people that want to have a physical fight with me in the last few weeks and in my life, so I could see and remember all these things that I've transcended through 10,000 times, and just to remind me so I can express those things to all of us who still have very large battles about us, and to let you know that you'll learn something from each battle. And like I say, the pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding, not because there's something wrong with you or you deserved it or it's karmic, because you learn what traps the people in the world have, so you can be the right minister of justice and free them and heal them and help them and redirect them. You see what's being said? It's a simple thing. What we're discussing is spirituality. Because you're spiritual. You're born to fix the whole mess. You will fix the whole mess. It's your destiny. You will fulfill your spiritual destiny. Thank you. thank you for listening. Thank you, Greg.